విద్యా విధానంలో డాక్టర్ బిఆర్ అంబేద్కర్ ఓపెన్ యూనివర్సిటీ దేశంలోనే మొట్టమొదటి సార్వత్రిక విశ్వవిద్యాలయం. దాదాపు 2.5 దశాబ్దాలుగా దూర విద్యా విధానం ద్వారా కంప్యూటర్ కోర్సును అనుసంధానం చేస్తూ BA, BCom, BSc డిగ్రీ కోర్సులను అందిస్తోంది. పోస్ట్ గ్రాడ్యుయేషన్ స్థాయి, డిగ్రీ, డిప్లొమా స్థాయి కోర్సులను ఔత్సాహికులైన విద్యార్థులకు అందిస్తోంది. డెవలప్మెంట్ స్టడీస్లో సెంటర్ ఫర్ ఎకనామిక్స్ అండ్ సోషల్ స్టడీస్ ద్వారా MPhil, PhDతో పాటు విశ్వవిద్యాలయమే స్వయంగా దూర విద్యా విధాన అంశంపైన PhD వంటి పరిశోధన కోర్సులు ప్రవేశపెట్టింది. రాష్ట్ర వ్యాప్తంగా సుమారు 4.5 లక్షల మంది విద్యార్థులు ఈ విశ్వవిద్యాలయం నుంచి ఉన్నత విద్యావకాశాలు పొందుతున్నారు. డాక్టర్ బిఆర్ అంబేద్కర్ సార్వత్రిక విశ్వవిద్యాలయం స్థానికంగా స్వయం బోధన పద్ధతిలో ముద్రణ రూపంలో రూపొందించిన కోర్స్ మెటీరియల్ అందిస్తోంది. కోర్స్ మెటీరియల్ అధ్యయనానికి సహకరించే విధంగా రేడియో, టెలివిజన్ పాఠ్యాంశాల ఆధారంగా కార్యక్రమాలు ప్రసారం చేస్తోంది. అధ్యయన కేంద్రాల ద్వారా ఏర్పాటు చేసే సలహా సంసర్గ తరగతులు, సైన్స్ ప్రాక్టికల్ సౌకర్యాలు విద్యార్థులకు స్వయం అధ్యయనానికి ఒక చక్కటి అవకాశం. ఇవి విద్యార్థి సమీపంలో ఉండే అధ్యయన కేంద్రం నుంచే పొందొచ్చు.
Namaste. Welcome to the studios of Doordarshan Hyderabad Kendra for a teleconference on public relations in a democratic and developing country like ours, being organized by the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University for the benefit of students of Bachelor of Public Relations. As for questioning, I think our telephone numbers are 040-270-31431, 270-31432, 270-31433. These are the numbers to which questions could be put. When we want to discuss about the role of public relations in a democratic country like ours, I am reminded of a famous quotation of a renowned American author, Mark Twain, who said about India, "India is the cradle of human race. India is the birthplace of human speech." He also said, India is the mother of history. India is the grandmother of legion, and India is the great grandmother of tradition. In addition to that, he said, all valuable and instructive materials of the story of man are treasured up only in India. That is the greatness of our country. That is the past of our country as described by Mark Twain. It is in this background, it is in this past glory, it is in this our 5,000 years old civilization, India today has emerged world's largest vibrant democracy on the one side, and at the same time, India is poised to become world's third biggest economy. It is against this background, today's topic, as I said just now, public relations in democratic and developing country like ours. To discuss on this, we have here today Mr. Matthew Joseph, former Deputy General Manager, Corporate Communications, Andhra Bank, and Mr. Y. Bobji is the counselor of Bachelor of Public Relations program of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University. He is also General Manager, Andhra Pradesh Khadi and Village Industries Board, They have come here to participate in our teleconference. Let us discuss on the subject. Mr. Matthew, when we are going to discuss about the public relations role in a democracy like ours, what do you think of public relations as such, the definition of public relations for the benefit of students? What do you think of?
See, there have been numerous definitions of public relations over the period of time. As it ages, generation to generation added their own wisdom to public relations. Fundamentally, the concept is basically to create a positive attitude in the minds of the people to achieve the desired objective or goal of the organization, individual, whoever it may be, whether it is governmental organization or a private enterprise, the organization's goal to be achieved through attitudinal change or a positive attitude towards the people is what matters. There have been improvements on this basic concept, like it's a strategic movement, how to fine tune this has gone. Changing dynamics of the situation. Latest, I think Babji will enlighten you, is what the American Public Relations Association
the latest
definition has come out with.
Yes, Mr. Babji.
To substitute Mr. Machi Joseph, the basic there are more than 200 definitions. Dr. Narasimha Reddy garu compiled more than 250 definitions on public relations. Public relations is the practice of managing the flow of information between an organization and its publics. The well received public relations definition being Institute of Public Relations, they have defined like this: public relations is the deliberate, planned and sustained effort to establish and maintain mutual understanding between an organization and its publics, government as a public and its publics as a public. Public Relations Society of America in 1982, they have defined public relations like this: public relations helps an organization and its publics adopt mutually to each other. And in 2012, after crowdsourcing various definitions, they have redefined the Public Relations Society of America.
Yes.
Their own definition, defined in 1982, they have redefined it now. They say it is public relations is a strategic communication process that builds mutually beneficial relationship between, again, organization and its publics. The common elements being organization and its publics, and the flow of communication between these two elements.
No, it's a good concept to see. Ultimately, the public relations is nothing but relationship management.
Yes. At one point, we would like to re-emphasize that it is a deliberate, intentional attempt, not an accidental attempt.
Deliberated.
So, it's a planned, sustained. These are the key words in a definition of public relations.
And
to achieve the objective.
yes.
The communication is directed towards targeted public purposefully and deliberately by plan. As he said, not it is not by an accident, but purposefully.
See, if I sum up, as I said just now, public relations is nothing but relationship management between an organization and its publics based on two-way communication process. See, one of the definitions which I coined in my book, you see, public relations is the management of a two-way communication process, not one-way, two-way communication process between an organization and its publics. The purpose is to promote the mission, the vision, the products, the services, the image of that organization. That sums up the definition of public relations, and it has a major role to play. Wherever there are publics, you have public relations.
While you are on that, I would like to re-emphasize the need for feedback.
Yes.
Public relations is not a one-way process.
Yes.
You may have a deliberate, intentional, planned, sustained effort, but what happened to that effort? Where did people understand? What was the people's response to that? Did they react the way you want them to react? That is the feedback mechanism which public relations will be more meaningful. Otherwise, it is not public relations. It is only information release.
That is the reason public relations is said to be a two-way street.
Yes,
Both
two-way
feed forward and feedback
Feedback.
shall be ensured.
I know. Feedback is a key element,
Key element.
in public relations.
Yes.
See, that gives us the impact of your communication, the impact of your message. That's why feedback is more important. Unfortunately, I think you see, it is not being given due importance in public relations communication. That is my assessment.
Without feedback, there is no sustainability for this public relations.
Now, having understood the definition of public relations, let us discuss the concept of democracy in India. What do you think of democratic process in this country, Mr. Matthew?
See, we can always pride ourselves that we are one of the largest democratic organizations of a country is in India. And over a period of time, we have proved to the world that we can be a democratic country. In spite of jerks and other problems in between the way we ran the democracy. But one more thing is the birth of democracy in this country, I believe, was based on public relations. Mahatma Gandhi, who fought without an army, without the police, in fact against the army and against the police, with only mass support, was a key foundation of Indian democracy today. Public relations as practiced by Mahatma Gandhi resulted in an independence in India on 15th of August. So today's public relations, how it is being done by the government, may be a minuscule compared to what it was done at the freedom movement.
Yes, sir.
No, I am reminded of when you said Mahatma Gandhi. See, Lord Mountbatten, just before independence, after independence, there was a communal trouble in Calcutta as well as in Punjab. See, Mahatma Gandhi went, and as a one-man army, he restored peace in Calcutta. And whereas in Punjab there was a lot of army, they could not restore. Lord Mountbatten sent a message to Queen there, you see, as a Governor General of India, here is a one-man army could maintain peace in Bengal, whereas the army, millions of army could not maintain. That is the greatness of Mahatma Gandhi.
Sir.
You go on back to the definition of public relations we said, deliberate, planned, sustained. Mahatma Gandhi's role in the freedom movement was deliberate, planned, sustained, based on feedback.
Feedback, always he gave feedback.
Even his silence was a great
Message.
and powerful communication. Even his silence.
Silence.
Sir, going beyond Mahatma Gandhi, India as a democratic social republic, as compared to other countries in the world like certain other Arab countries and African countries and some Asian countries, ours, if you look into the well-managed bygone civilizations, the public relations is inbuilt. The elements are still found in contemporary public relations. Say for example, Lord Rama honoring the public opinion, and Chanukya's social messaging system, and Akbar's public campaigning procedures. All these are evidences for
our democratic principles from the ancient
India, sir. If we come to the 20th century, in 1950s, it was a publicity phase. And in 1960s and 70s, which was a turbulent period in India, it was only explanatory phase. And only after liberalization, privatization and globalization, it is a mutual satisfaction stage of public relations. So, you continue, sir.
See, in fact, Mahatma Gandhi laid strong foundation of democratic process in this country. Before Mahatma Gandhi entered India, he came to India in 1915 or 16 from South Africa. Earlier, the freedom movement was confined to elite and to urban areas. When Mahatma Gandhi came, first what he did, he traveled all over the country to study the pulse of the people. Then you see, he made freedom movement a mass movement. He said every village should have a flag of freedom movement. In that you see, he spread the message to villages, grassroots. So therefore, if our democracy is strong today, vibrant, strong, it is credit goes to Mahatma Gandhi for laying a very strong foundation. The success of Mahatma Gandhi, according to me, I think you see, he has been designated as man of the 20th century, the greatest communicator of the world. And I see behind his success as the greatest communicator of this world, in fact, Winston Churchill said, oh, that half-naked fakir, what can he do? But the same half-naked fakir could create public opinion against the British and got independent. Why I am mentioning, you see, his success was based on two factors. One is his ideology, the satyagraha, ahimsa, the ideology, number one. Number two, the greatest factor for his success was his media and public relation techniques. These are the two things, you see, that made him great. And today we call him Mahatma because, you see, he on the one side is ideology, on the other side the Gandhian techniques of communication and his public relation method. That's why, you see, he became very great.
Yes, sir. As
Gandhi, who transformed himself as Mahatma, have done certain major transformations in public relation exercises. One thing that comes straight into my mind at this moment is the salt satyagraha. Now, salt is a common mass used product. When there is a tax or a cost levied on it, he said, I will have a satyagraha against it. He has the Dandi March. Now, entire nation got up energized on this Dandi March. Compared to actually the act of Dandi March is negligible, but the media, the people, public relation as a tool was used. Dandi March was used as a public relations tool to enhance the message, and I think it worked wonders.
And the product also used salt.
Salt, low value, must.
Yes.
But today, if you look back, if anybody writes a history of Indian democracy, he cannot ignore the salt satyagraha movement. That is public relations in action.
the first public campaign,
I know.
as far as our knowledge goes, as far as our public
Whatever
relations
the mass movements he
the
started.
basic, one of the basic principles of communication is know your audience. Know your audience perhaps is the first principle of communication
that he implemented.
that
Mahatma
he
Gandhi.
implemented. Mahatma Gandhi implemented by going around the entire India to know the people, to know his audience, because you know the entire population of India is his audience, the future prospective audience.
See, the next question comes, see, the well-informed citizenry is an asset for the success of democracy. And ill-informed citizenry is a liability. What is the role of information and communication in a democratic country like ours?
Now, I would like to continue with what we were discussing while answering your query. Post Mahatma Gandhi, in the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, even you have seen people deliberately going on Padyatra,
I know.
crisscross across the state, Rath Yatra across the country. Why? To understand the people, to tell them what I think about it, to bring the communication channels at the doorstep of the people. Now, that is public relations in action. Until we are able to involve the publics in forming the public opinion, you cannot implement anything in this country at the level which we are operating.
So, the flow of information
Has to be
it should be regularly
ongoing.
Directed towards the
flow of,
target.
here you see, I am reminded of a quotation from Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru ji said, freedom from ignorance or freedom from information poverty is as important as freedom from hunger.
That's true.
The importance that you give to the eradication of economic poverty or hunger, similar importance should be given freedom from ignorance, information poverty. This information poverty can be eradicated only by giving
Sir, what
information.
Mahatma Gandhi, what Jawaharlal Nehru said is, without food, you will die a physical death. Without information, the country will die out of lack of development. If you need development, you need information. Until there is development, there is no growth for the country. And until the country grows, there is no growth for you and me.
That's the reason, in order to eradicate the information poverty, we have government machinery like Government of India media units like Doordarshan, All India Radio, DAVP, PIB and all those things at national level, sir. Perhaps. Only in order to communicate the policies of the government and get the feedback from the public, who are the
I think
beneficiaries.
in order to make our democracy a success, I think only after the independence in our country, the government of India has created a separate ministry called Ministry of Information Broadcasting. And who was the first minister? Sardar Patel, who laid the strong foundation for the Ministry of Information Broadcasting. Why? To inform the people, to educate the people, and to entertain the people as partners in a democratic process. That's the purpose of creating that ministry was that. Yes, Mr. Matthew?
The the initial period of India's infanthood, these two structures were created. But today, apart from ministries of information and public relations, broadcasting, information, all that apart, there is a new set of information channel, unstructured, the social media that has come. You have the government set up, yes, we have a Ministry for Information, Broadcasting, the Film Division, the Press Information Bureau, the External Information Department, all of them are within the structured one, and similar replicas are available in the state government. Maybe you call them Directorate of Information and Public Relations or whatever nomenclature are. They also work up to the grassroots level, at the village level, and from village level onwards they pick up information.
Sir, everything is growing. The original actual functions of the media were only inform and educate. Now the third thing has been added, that is to entertain. Now there are at least 7 functions identified as the functions of the media: inform, educate, entertain, influence, persuade, that and this. About 7 to 9, because it is growing, media is growing. It is not confined to only government as a government
No,
function.
that is what I said, structured organization. But we also need to cannot afford to ignore unstructured organization. Informal organization or social medias. Like you have the Facebook, you have the Twitter, anything internet is available. Your SMS is a media, your cell phone is a media.
That is
So,
SM, social media.
Social media has become very rampant, and it is also very powerful in creating a message to achieve an objective. In fact, maybe we will not name individuals, but the recent anti-corruption crusades that have been going on have been reflected crisscross across the country in no time.
Yes, that is in tune with the principle of public be informed. Public are knowing everything and
Public be informed, public react.
Public react.
And on that reaction of public, you modulate your further growth action.
If we make an analysis of the media on the one side and the information and public relation network of the government, both in Government of India and state government, according to one estimate, this I am told, you see, this is the biggest network in the world. A question arises, what has been its positive contribution to the success of democracy? The answer is, we have over 70 crore voters in this country. They are the masters of our democracy. Who educated these 70 crore voters as to how to vote, how to participate in the elections?
Thanks to new IT medium.
New IT media plus the information public relation network of the government, both in central government and state government, they played a major role in educating them as partners in democracy. That has been the positive contribution.
As Mr. Matthew said just now, sir, a recent anti-corruption campaign, entire country, we have witnessed that. And one despotic, autocratic ruler in Central Asian country, the people were against the government. They have communicated themselves because there was restrictions on the communication.
I know.
Government media has not allowed any kind of such information flow from
social media.
Social media has
educated.
taken the responsibility. The people educated themselves. They have put the information across the people of the country and also to the neighboring countries. They could bring that despotic or autocratic ruler down. And that has spread to the entire Central Asian countries.
That is a lesson to democratic
That is the
countries,
advantage, that is the benefit of the social media.
No, even you can control the
Organized
media,
structure.
mass media. But you see, you can't control the social
No,
media.
that's what you can control the organized structure.
Organized structure.
Unorganized structure can never be controlled. It's an uprising. Now, while we are talking about government in democratic government's media role, I would like to share with you about the country being declared polio free.
Yes, our country.
Our country. Today, in this country, if it is polio free, it's because the government information mechanism has penetrated to every home in urban,
Tribal area.
metropolitan, rural, or at most poorest of the poor place. So that one drop of polio drop is put in the mouth of every child. Now, that is not easy to do it overnight. It had to be deliberate, sustained campaign to bring forth that information to the doorstep of the people and bring the people to the doorstep of the doctor, or take the doctor to the doorstep of the people. And I think that is one of the clear-cut achievements of communications in this country.
And our country has been declared polio-free country.
And it is possible because this is the development communication. Everybody needs it. What people wanted, government of India is giving, and communication appropriate is being given to the people. That's the reason everybody is accepting that kind of information. Otherwise, if something is propagated to be adopted, and I think that kind of response won't be there, sir.
One example I can quote from this pulse polio immunization program. You see, 1 year, I am told, you see, on a single day, 17 crore children, over 17 crore children were administered pulse polio drops at various centers. That means the information and public relation network of the government, even private extension agencies, could educate 34 crore parents of the 17 crore children. Then only they came. So sensitization has been done. That's why 17 crore children came.
That is pulsating effect.
In fact, if you remember, they used media people like Amitabh Bachchan or Shah Rukh Khan to come and give one drop, and that became news. I mean, so the involvement.
Amitabh Bachchan was a celebratory for pulse polio program.
So you say, if Amitabh says, it is much more acceptable to me than you and me talking. People's attitude.
Sir, but because it is meant for the happiness and welfare of the people at large. Therefore, everybody adopts. And certain other messages, even if you want to put across the people, it may not go through. It is always there.
When we discuss about the role of public relations in development, see, good example, see, Green Revolution. Thanks to Green Revolution, today we are self-sufficient in fruit production. In Tamil Nadu, one particular paddy is known as radio rice, not by its genetic name, but in Tamil Nadu, radio popularized a particular genetic paddy, so it is known as radio rice. So, similarly, White Revolution. Today, we are number 1 in milk production in the world. And similarly, in Blue Revolution, we are number 3 in fish production in this world. Yellow Revolution, we are manufacturing medicines here in our own country. Why I am submitting, you see, behind these all revolutions, the participation of people is an essential element. It is the public relations network through media could sensitize people. As a result, we are now poised to become world's 3rd biggest economy shortly. India is today a global economic player.
We are today transforming ourselves as a developing nation to a developed nation. We have opened our doors to globalization, liberalization, and mass communication within that sector. The impact of globalization and liberalization will be felt in this country within this next decade, so that the fruits will be available for our people. Even in public relations, if you look at it, the quality of public relations practice will also be enhanced substantially, because have you noticed that post globalization, not only the companies came, they brought in the public relations expertise also. In the last 5-6 years, we have public relations firms that are established in India, which were incorporated abroad. We have public relations practitioners who have put up consultancies. Now it is not a go-getter, it's a professional job, it's an accepted norm, and I think public relations will grow in this country in the new era too.
But there is always criticism on public relations, that it is only influencive and exploitative. What could be the reasons for this kind of criticism on public relations?
Maybe it is lack of understanding of public relations.
I know.
And I will also tell you that no group is without a black sheep. There is possibility somebody may be using it negatively, but that doesn't mean that the product is bad.
I know.
For example, if you are looking at lobbying, lobbying has not been accepted in Indian public relations as a media or a tool of public relations, while as in US it is an accepted legal form of public relations. So we are in the growth phase of public relations post globalization. Maybe 2015 or 2020, if we are discussing here on the same subject, lobbying would be one of the accepted part of public relations growth.
But in public relations, we identify this lobbying, spin doctoring, ploy, propaganda, and all these things as the predecessors. Already they have passed through, and we are passing through the stage of public relations. But the recent happening in India about a PR agency, the profession itself has got a bad name.
See, why it has got a bad name, there are so many reasons. See, one of the main reasons is, as Mr. Matthew Joseph said, lack of proper understanding of the correct role of public relations by the management. And on the other side, you see, public relations, due to lack of education and training, the present day public relations professionals are not in a position to give results. In the process, we are getting a bad name. But you see, in due course, when educational facilities are increased, when training facilities are increased, undoubtedly public relations can play a very valid role and it will get due recognition.
Mr. Reddy, this public relations spectrum that we were talking about, one, we have the top public relations people coming in from the abroad. On the other hand, you have the governmental public relations people coming in. We need to professionalize the profession so that everybody gets an opportunity.
Phone.
Hello, sir. Very good afternoon.
Yes.
Hello. Very good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon.
Sir, you're telling about the public relations.
Yes.
Sir, everything is fine, sir. In this global world, we are all connect with each and every person, and we are the second world people that we are developing countries. Okay, sir. In this all systems, sir. నాది ఒక చిన్న ప్రశ్న. ఇప్పుడు జస్ట్ అర్థనీతిలో జస్ట్ లైక్ లాయన్ కి లాయన్ అంటే దండనీతి అంటారు. అర్థనీతికి ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ గా ఎలిఫెంట్ కి తీసుకుంటారు. ఇప్పుడు ఇన్స్టెడ్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ ఎలిఫెంట్ నౌ the people are different pigmentalities came, means toxic mentalities. And instead of these lions, these snake mentalities came. How is the fox? How this balance is possible, sir? In this developing world, sir? Would you like to explain about this?
మీ ప్రశ్న స్టేట్ ఏంటి? మీరు లయన్ అండ్ ఎలిఫెంట్ అంటున్నారు. మీ ప్రశ్నను స్టేట్ ప్రశ్న ఏంటి? మేము ఆన్సర్ ఇస్తాం మేము, దయచేసి ఇది అర్థం కావడం.
సార్, ఇప్పుడు డెవలప్మెంట్ ఎలా పాసిబుల్? ఈ సిస్టమ్ లో ఇంత ఇన్ని డిఫరెన్సెస్ ఉన్నాయి, ఎలా రీచ్ అవుతుందా అని చెప్పేసి
వెరీ గుడ్
అర్థనీతిలో డెవలపింగ్ ఎలా రీచ్ అవుతాయి? కామన్ పీపుల్ డజంట్ గెటింగ్ ద రీచ్.
అది కరెక్ట్. మీరు అన్నది ఏంటంటే, తెలుగులో చెప్పాలా?
మిస్టర్ గుప్తా
గారు, మీరు అన్న దాంట్లో వ్యాలిడ్ పాయింట్ ఉంది. మన దేశంలో దాదాపు 30% ప్రజలు బిలో ది పావర్టీ లైన్ ఉన్నారు. వాళ్ళకి ఎటువంటి మీడియాతో యాక్సెస్ లేదు. ఈ మీడియా మన దేశంలో ఉన్న రేడియో కానీ, టీవీ కానీ, పత్రికలు కానీ ఈ దాదాపు 50-60% మంది ప్రజలకే చేరుతుంది. కాబట్టి ఏంటంటే, మిగతా వాళ్లకు ఈ డెవలప్మెంట్ మెసేజ్ ఏ విధంగా చేరాలని మీ యొక్క ప్రశ్న. అందుకొరకు ఏంటంటే, భవిష్యత్తులో ముఖ్యంగా గ్రామ స్థాయిలో ఈ ప్రజా సంబంధాల వ్యవస్థను పెంపొందించాల్సి ఉంది. మన హరికథలు, బుర్రకథలు ఇటువంటి ద్వారా మనం సమాచారం అందిస్తే వాళ్ళు కూడా మన అభివృద్ధిలో భాగస్వాములు కావడానికి ఉంటుంది. ఇటు మన రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వం డిస్ట్రిక్ట్ పబ్లిక్ రిలేషన్స్ ఆఫీసర్స్ అని ప్రతి జిల్లాలో, డివిజనల్ పబ్లిక్ రిలేషన్స్ ఆఫీసర్ అని ప్రతి రెవెన్యూ సబ్ డివిజన్లో, అదేవిధంగా కేంద్ర ప్రభుత్వం కూడా ప్రతి 2 జిల్లాలకు ఒక ఫీల్డ్ పబ్లిసిటీ ఆఫీసర్ని వాళ్ళు వేశారండి. వారు గ్రామాలకు వెళ్ళి ప్రజలకు వివిధ వారికి అర్థమయ్యే మాధ్యమాల ద్వారా ఈ అభివృద్ధి సమాచారం ఇవ్వాలని ఈ విధంగా చెప్పారు. కాబట్టి ఇది ఇంకా విస్తృతం కావాల్సి ఉంది. మీ యొక్క ప్రశ్నలో అర్థం ఉంది కాబట్టి ఇంకా విస్తృతం కావాల్సిందని మేము చెప్తా ఉన్నాం.
రెడ్డి సార్, ఐడ్ లైక్ టు క్లారిఫై లిటిల్ ఫర్దర్.
ఎస్,
ఇప్పుడు మన దగ్గర సెల్ ఫోన్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ఎవ్రీ ఇండివిజువల్ ఇన్ విలేజెస్ ఆల్సో ఆర్ హ్యావింగ్ ఏ సెల్ ఫోన్ టుడే.
90 కోట్ల సెల్ ఫోన్స్
ఇన్ఫ్యాక్ట్ అంటున్నారు కదా, టాయిలెట్స్ లేదు, సెల్ ఫోన్స్ ఉన్నాయని. If cell phone can be used as an SMS media of messaging, you can reach people much more comfortable.
90 crore people.
90 crore people overnight.
Good.
Now you are not looking at a structured one. You are looking at a social media and something personal. Even if I don't read the newspaper, I will see my SMS message.
Yes.
కానీ భయం ఏమిటంటే ఎస్ఎంఎస్ ఎవరికి ఇవ్వాలి? ఏదో ఒక జరగరానిది జరిగింది, ఏదో ఒక డెఫిషియన్సీ ఉంది, ఎస్ఎంఎస్ ఎవరికి ఇవ్వాలి? వాళ్ళకి అంటే అథారిటీస్కి ఇస్తే యూ విల్ బీ ఫైండ్ ఫాల్ట్, ఇతన్ని విక్టిమైజ్ చేస్తారు. కాబట్టి మెసేజ్ సెండ్ అక్రాస్. మైక్రో బ్లాగింగ్ ఉంది ఇవాళ రేపులో, ఈమెయిల్స్ ఉన్నాయి, మీ ఫ్రెండ్స్కి పంపిస్తే ఆ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ సోషల్ మీడియా నుంచి మెయిన్ స్ట్రీమ్ మీడియా పికప్ చేస్తుంది. సోషల్ మీడియా అంటే ఇంటర్నెట్ మీడియం, న్యూ మీడియం, దానిలో నుంచి మెయిన్ లైన్ మీడియా అంటే న్యూస్ పేపర్స్, ఛానల్స్ ఖచ్చితంగా పికప్ చేస్తుంది. మన గ్రివెన్స్ని డైరెక్ట్గా అథారిటీస్కి పెట్టే ధైర్యం లేకపోతే అప్పుడేం చేయాలంటే మన ఫ్రెండ్స్కి ఈ సోషల్ మీడియా ద్వారా పంపిస్తే ఎక్కడో ఒక చోట అది పికప్ అవుతుంది.
అదే ముఖ్యంగా ఏంటంటే వారన్న ప్రశ్న, ఈ అభివృద్ధి సమాచారం గ్రామీణులకు చేరాలి. అందుకొరకు గ్రామీణ స్థాయిలో కూడా ఈ ప్రజా సంబంధాల వ్యవస్థ పెంపొందించాల్సి ఉంది. వాళ్ళకి అక్కరొచ్చే మాధ్యమాలను ఉపయోగించి వాళ్ళని ప్రభావితం చేయాలి.
అంటే గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా మీడియా యూనిట్స్ కానీ, స్టేట్ గవర్నమెంట్ యొక్క పబ్లిక్ రిలేషన్స్ ఈ స్ట్రక్చరల్ సెటప్ కానీ వాళ్ళకి తెలియడం లేదు, అందుబాటులో లేదు సార్. అలాంటప్పుడు నేచురల్గా ఈ ప్రాబ్లం వస్తుంది. దీనికి ఒకటే సొల్యూషన్, సోషల్ మీడియాలో ఫ్రెండ్స్కి అందరికీ చెప్పుకుంటూ పోతే ఎక్కడో ఒక చోట అది
సోషల్ మీడియా డేటా బ్యాంక్ కూడా పెట్టుకోవాలి. డేటా బ్యాంక్ కూడా పెట్టుకోవాలి.
ఒకటేనా ప్రశ్న? ఇక ముఖ్యంగా ఇక మనకు ఈ ప్రజా ఐ కమ్ టు దిస్ టు సీ వాట్ ఈస్ ది స్టేట్ ఆఫ్ ది ఆర్ట్ ఆఫ్ పబ్లిక్ రిలేషన్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియా. వీ హ్యావ్ బీన్ డిస్కసింగ్ about the role of public relations in a democratic process. We have been discussing about the role of public relations in a development. But what is the state of the art public relations in India, Mr. Matthew?
Now, I was about to talk about that subject when Mr. Gupta's question came. See, today, as a part of globalization and liberalization, foreign companies have established their presence in India. Second, they have brought in their media managers and public relations managers. They have established their own companies in this India. And today we have a large spectrum on the top of the pyramid. But at the same time, at the bottom of the pyramid, we have the village public relations officer. Now, the top of the pyramid is highly professional,
second to none
in the world, and can deliver on dot what is expected. The poor village public relations officer is a barefoot public relations man practicing out of gut feeling and without subject knowledge. He is only carrying out a job that is entrusted to him. Now, we must transform this village public relations officer to a professional public relations man, and he should see a professionalized growth in his career rather than getting stuck there. If he has to move out from a village to a taluk to a state, he needs professional growth. Courses like the ones at Ambedkar University or any other university conducts must give him the technical background, subject knowledge on which basis he can take it further.
Hello.
Yes, చెప్పండి.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, చెప్పండి.
ఇప్పుడు మీరు పబ్లిక్ రిలేషన్షిప్ అండ్ డెమోక్రటిక్ కరెన్సీ గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నారు కదా సార్?
అవునండి.
అయితే ఇందులో డెవలప్మెంట్ గురించి నాకు ఒక డౌట్ సార్.
చెప్పండి.
డెవలప్మెంట్ గురించి చాలా పథకాలు మన గవర్నమెంట్ ప్రవేశపెడుతుంది. మాధ్యమాల ద్వారా తర్వాత ఏదో ఒక విధంగా అయితే చేరుతుంది వాళ్ళకి.
అవునండి.
కానీ వాటి గురించి పర్యవేక్షణ అనేది చాలా తక్కువగా ఉందని నేను అనుకుంటున్నాను. గుజరాత్ వంటి రాష్ట్రాల్లో అయితే పర్యవేక్షణ ఇప్పుడు ఒక ప్లాన్ అంటే ఒక పథకం చేసిన తర్వాత దాని గురించి పర్యవేక్షణ అనేది చేయటం లేదు మన ఏపీ.
మీరు ఏమన్నారు? ప్రవేశ ఏమంటున్నారు మీరు?
ఒక పథకం ప్రవేశపెట్టారనుకోండి సార్, ఏదైనా ఒకటి.
అవునండి.
ఇప్పుడు రూరల్ డెవలప్మెంట్ ఎన్ఆర్ఈజీపీ ఉంది కదా,
అవునండి.
దాని గురించి పర్యవేక్షణ అనేది లేదు మెయిన్ గా. దానివల్ల ఫ్రాడ్ జరగడానికి అవకాశం ఉంది.
అవును.
దీని మీద గవర్నమెంట్ చాలా పథకాలు అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఇండిపెండెంట్ అప్ టు ఇండిపెండెంట్ అప్పటి నుంచి ఇప్పటి వరకు చాలా పథకాలు ప్రవేశపెట్టారు.
అవునండి.
కానీ ఒక కొన్ని రాష్ట్రాలు మాత్రమే అంటే గుజరాత్ కానీ ఇప్పుడు ప్రజెంట్ గా బీహార్ కానీ వాళ్ళు పర్యవేక్షణకు కూడా ఇంపార్టెన్స్ ఇస్తున్నారు.
అవును.
మరి మన ఏపీలో ఎందుకు ఇవ్వట్లేదు? ఇస్తున్నారా? ఎంతవరకు ఇస్తున్నారు?
లేలే.
ఒకవేళ ఇవ్వకపోతే ప్రజలను చైతన్యవంతం చేస్తే ఎంతవరకు బాగుంటుంది?
కరుణాకర్ రెడ్డి.
ఇప్పుడు రెడ్డి గారు ముఖ్యంగా ఏంటంటే ఏ రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వం అయినా, గుజరాతే కాదు ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ ప్రభుత్వం అయినా కానీ ఏంటంటే వారికి ఒక ధ్యేయం ఉందండి. ప్రతి రాష్ట్రంలో కూడా సమాచార ప్రజా సంబంధాల శాఖ ఒకటి ఉంది. అయితే అదే కాకుండా వివిధ శాఖలు, వ్యవసాయ శాఖ, ఫ్యామిలీ వెల్ఫేర్ శాఖ, యానిమల్ హస్బెండరీ శాఖ, ప్రతి శాఖలో కూడా ఎక్స్టెన్షన్ విభాగాలు ఉన్నాయండి. ఈ సమాచార ప్రజా సంబంధాల శాఖ రెవెన్యూ సబ్ డివిజనల్ స్థాయి వరకు విస్తరింపబడింది. డిస్ట్రిక్ట్ పబ్లిక్ రిలేషన్స్ ఆఫీసర్ ఉన్నారు. అయితే ఎప్పుడు ప్రభుత్వం ఏ అభివృద్ధి పథకం మొదలుపెట్టినా కానీ ఈ వివిధ శాఖల ద్వారా ఒకవైపు, మరొక వైపు ఈ సమాచార ప్రజా సంబంధాల శాఖ యొక్క వ్యవస్థ ద్వారా వివిధ మాధ్యమాలను ఉపయోగించుకొని ఈ ప్రజలకు అర్థం చేయించడానికే వారి బాధ్యత అండి. ఆ విధంగా చేస్తున్నారు, ఇప్పుడు ప్రస్తుతం చేస్తున్నారు. అందరికీ చేరకపోవచ్చు, కానీ వ్యవస్థ ఒకటి ఉంది. ఈ సమాచారం అందించడానికి కృషి చేస్తున్నారని చెప్పడానికి మేము వెనకంజ వేయడానికి వీలు లేదండి. అది చేస్తున్నారు, ప్రయత్నం చేస్తున్నారు. ఈ ప్రతి స్కీమ్ కూడా ప్రజల వరకు అందడానికి ప్రయత్నం చేస్తున్నారండి. So what is the future of public relations in this country? Could anybody?
The future of public relations is a very bright future in this country. You cannot write off public perception, public opinion, public communication and publics at large. And public relation is an involvement of all these facets, and if it has to be a democratic country. India is a democratic country, and the future in democracy of this country is assured, and therefore public relations is also assured in terms of democratic process.
So,
on the other end, you have the commercial growth, the development growth, liberalization, globalization. There also public relations is playing a very pivotal role. The opportunities for employment in future areas in public relations will be manifold compared to today's opportunities that are available.
But there is also a fear that the name, nomenclature, public relations is getting changed to public communication as feared by everybody, including our guru Dr. C.V. Narasimha Reddy garu. But this is because public relations is supposed to be an umbrella of several activities like publicity, advertising, marketing communication, corporate communication, or public information. Several names are there, and public relations is supposed to be the umbrella. One fear for public relations, Mr. Matthew said, there is a bright future for public relations, but the very name is feared. The existence of public relations, the very nomenclature is going to change.
I entirely agree.
Because, sir, it is because public relations is a management function, and it is also said to be a specialized and strategic management function. But when it comes to the question of management, the principles like 7 P's of marketing or 20 P's of marketing, positioning, product life cycle, measuring, everything is common. When everything is common, there is a likelihood of communication is being merged into public relations. Therefore, it is going to be a public communication or something like corporate communication, and we are fearing the losing of our own identity.
I agree. I entirely agree with you. See, but what is the reason for this? See, one of the pitfalls of our public relation profession in India is, it is called identity crisis. It is called identity crisis. If you go to marketing, all people working in marketing, they are called marketing officers. If you go to journalism, only journalism one name. Advertising. Unfortunately, in public relations, we have different nomenclature, as you pointed out. You see, if you go to America, it is called, if you go to our consulate, American consulate, there is no public relations officer. You have got to public affairs officer. If you go to some other Australia, if you go to defense ministry in the Australia, it is called public information officer. Of late, to see, public relations, one university, overnight they changed the syllabus. Syllabus is the same. Earlier it used to be public relations, now just they said corporate communication. There is no change in the syllabus, but you see, only nomenclature. I think, you see, let me explain to you why this is happening in this country. Friends, you see, according to me, public relations so far has been confined only to media relations, maintaining relations only with media to get some favorable coverage in the newspapers, whereas public relations, name itself, relations with the public. Every organization has publics, employees are its publics, customers are its publics, shareholders are its publics, even suppliers, even general community are publics. But public relations confined only with media, neglecting other. In this global competitive market and environment, managements want that their public relation should reach all public. Therefore, the public relation was not giving results. They changed the nomenclature to corporate communication. In the guise of corporate communication, they are the need of the hour today. If at all we want to have, see, we must reach all publics and gain goodwill from them. Yes, Ms. Matthew, you want to say?
No, I see, we are today in a process of growth. From a larva to a butterfly is a process. But larva shedding its skin doesn't mean that it is the end of it. Today, if we are losing the term public relations, the concept is not lost. A butterfly may emerge out of this. So, let us not get panic about it. Secondly, corporate public relations is different from government public relations. So, you won't get a name corporate.
Sir, I interfere here. Butterfly is an embodiment of freedom. Media is free. That is, therefore, it is called free press. Media is free, whereas public relations profession is fettered somewhere. Whether if it is in the government, it is under the control of the government. If it is in the corporate sector, the corporate body will control the public relations. So, where is the freedom for public relations to develop? Maybe I feel happy as one of the public practitioners of the state, of the contemporary public practitioner. I feel happy if this larva becomes a butterfly, with all colors and freedom.
In fact, Mr. Narasimha Reddy will agree with me. When I started my career in public relations about 30 years ago, it was a PRO, public relations officer. But when I retired, it was a corporate communications officer. So, the metamorphosis has taken place. But in truth, the functions will remain the same. The growth of public relations recognized the public relations as a tool essential of management function was recognized by the system, and that is more important. No management, whether it is a bureaucracy or the government or your corporate sector, will recognize you until you are worth it.
Yeah.
To be worth it, you need to be professionalized. Until you professionalize, you will not be able to utter one word and communicate yourself. So, not only you have to communicate about the organization and the goals of the organization, you have to communicate about public relations itself.
That is the reason why we have been crying that we should enter into the boardroom. Public relations practitioners should be in a position to enter into a level at a level where decisions are taken.
In fact, it should be the other way around. Public relations practitioners should be worth being invited into the boardroom.
That's what.
By their performance.
Yes, they must deserve and then desire.
In fact, my professor who taught me those days, he said, PR is performance followed by recognition. Performance followed by recognition. You can't get recognition and then I will perform.
But you see, I'll have my own version of PR. PR means P, as you said, performance, or not recognition, reporting. It is the job of PR to report to the audience to gain their goodwill. That is the. But anyhow, when
Sir, I have a very basic doubt.
Yes.
Students keep asking me. Public relations is presentation of facts. Is it possible to put across the message? Every message cannot be truthful, every message cannot be clean. If that is the situation, how is it possible that public relations is presentation of facts always, every time, 24/7? Is it possible?
No, that otherwise you see, public relations, I think you see, one of the governors, I think what his name, he was inaugurating our chapter, Hyderabad chapter, name of the governor I forgot, he said, truth is the essence of public relations. And he gave a very good example of that. The governor said, if you lie with the bride, and marriage is going to be a lifelong process, 100 years process, so the truth will come out. So in public relations, there is no scope for lying. Truth is essential. Even if you lie, the truth will come out. That's why the essence of public relations is truth. Credible information you must give. Otherwise, you see, the management will get bad name. The PRO's credibility in the eyes of the media also will get a very bad name.
There is also a stigma that a go-getter, as Mr. Matthew said, a go-getter. And even public relations was so meanly defined that smiling, receiving, seeing off, shaking hands is also part of public relations. In fact, they are the main functions of a public relations practitioner. That was the impression. Of course, slowly it is fading away, sir. I am happy that
ultimately public relations is a skills-oriented profession. Skills-oriented. Smiling may be useful unless you have skills in communication. Communication means not only talking. Communication means talking is communication, listening is communication, reading is communication, writing is communication, body language is communication. Unless you have the required skills in these areas, you cannot be a successful public relations manager. You need skills. It's a skills oriented. That's why we need education and training. Yes, Mr.
Education fine-tunes the skills.
Yes. Yes.
Education fine-tunes the skills. Today, our village PR may be having a skill, but he has to be fine-tuned with academic backing, so that he understands how best he can use the skills.
Sir, my thing is, unless he doesn't have the basic inherent PR qualities and orientation, no amount of education, no amount of skill, no amount of training will be of help to him.
Inherent
PR qualities, one should possess.
If inherent is not there, success rate will be low, but you can't write off that person. From 0 to 10 scale, he may perform at 4 or 5. A boy with inherent abilities will perform at 9 to 8, 8 to 9 level. It is only a difference in level that will operate. But eventually, let us take it as a goal to professionalize our profession, so that people understand what it is, gets acceptability. I don't have to ask for acceptability. I should be able to win acceptability on my performance.
I think to professionalize our profession, the need of the hour today in India, as Mr. Matthew said, see our state of the art, you see the PR is, you see quantity wise we have grown, quantity wise we have grown, in number we have grown, but quality wise we have yet to grow. Of course, there are some top PR professionals who are second to none. The need of the hour is professional excellence. For this, I think you see, the basic need today is education. Unfortunately, the conventional universities in this country, they don't bother to introduce exclusive public relations courses, unlike in the Western countries. See, public relations is taught as one of the subjects of journalism courses. we need, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University has introduced Bachelor of Public Relations. So such courses are required today. Yes. Yes.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, Chapan sir.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Ram Reddy speaking from Hyderabad.
Yes, please.
Your discussions are appreciable.
Yes, sir.
The topic is very good. But my point is, I would like to clarify with you
Yes, sir.
how to maintain good public relations with the people and people.
Yes.
Because among the topic is very good in principle,
Yes.
whereas in practically some defects and some drawbacks are there.
Yes. See,
I would like to request you to
Yes.
enlighten how to maintain good
Yes.
publications with the good people.
yes, yes.
and
Good,
people.
good question. Good question. You see, if at all you are keen, suppose you are working in a bank or you are working in any organization, the best way of keeping good relations with the people is your service. Your service, we have been discussing, you see, without performance there is no public relations. Public relations is to highlight the performance of the organization and get the understanding, public understanding or goodwill of the people for the organization. Service is the key important element in maintaining good relations. If the bank does not provide service, you can't go to the public, you can't get good relations. That's why, friends, you see, service is important area, performance is important area. So therefore, see, 90% of the time should be devoted to performance only. That is the answer, I think.
Sir, I will add. Be good and do good. That will improve your public relations.
No, since both of them have said, I will take it on a lighter vein and be more comfortable rather than theoretically talking to you. You are a bachelor or a married person?
That's over. You know, finally, I
Yes,
think, you see, we have a very bright future for public relations in India on account of 4 factors. Number 1, our country is the largest democratic country in the world. Number 2, we are going to be the 3rd biggest economy in the world. Number 3, friends, you see, our nation is going to be the largest English-speaking nation in the world. Finally, there will be a lot of media boom in this country. All these 4 factors will give ample opportunities for the growth of public relations in order to inform, educate, and entertain people as partners in a democratic and development process. With these few words, we thank all the viewers of Doordarshan Hyderabad Kendra. Thank you very much. Namaste.